Hey guys, I'm Pascal from Orange Pixel, and today I wanted to talk about building levels for your game, specifically in this case my game, and how I use building blocks to generate random levels. And I figured these Legos might come in handy to visualize everything for you guys. So this needs to go up to the studio, and then we'll talk about level design. Let's go. So the Lego is up. It's my old childhood Lego, so it's like 30 years old, I guess, or 20, little high 20s. Okay, it's more than 30 years old. It's also a bit dusty, I just noticed. So maybe I should just do this without the Lego and just use other visuals to explain how I build my levels with blocks. I just wish I check the Lego before moving it up here. Alright, so in Gunslugs there are 3 different types of levels, and we are gonna talk about all these 3, and they're basically designed in a very different way. Well, not completely different way, obviously it's one game, but never mind. We're just gonna talk about the first one, which is the overworld. So how the overworld is generated is pretty simple. We start on the left side, we generate it from left to right, and the level is generated using blocks. These blocks are designed by me because nobody else wants to. So I created these little blocks of 10 by 10 tiles, so each block has 10 areas where you can place platforms or enemies or anything you can think of that is in the game can be placed in these tiles. What the game engine does then is procedurally generate using these blocks, creating a block, taking one randomly, which is why we call these kind of levels randomly generated. It's random, but not completely random, because the levels are still designed for the most part. So the engine takes these blocks, starts placing the first one on the left, then picks another random block, places it next to it, and so forth until we reach the end of the level. These blocks are then designed so that the player can always enter the block on the left. There is no obstruction there, no wall. The player needs to be able to move through it or over it, or at least be able to enter it. And of course leave that same block on the right side, because on the right side of this block will be another block which is the same, and so forth and so on. The fun part is that these blocks can also be flipped by the engine, so the right side and the left side are interchangeable, and it will completely mirror the block, making for just a little bit more variation in your levels. And it means creating 4 blocks gives us 8 different variations for a single level, And for even more variation, I can also specify in these blocks that some platforms have a 50% or a 33% chance of being generated. So the code will just randomly say, yeah, I'm gonna add this platform, but I'm not gonna add this platform. And the level should still work because I, of course, designed it in the right way so that even if this platform isn't there, there is another way to get past it. Those are really why it's called random generation. This is all based on random numbers and based on set numbers like which world are we in. Then there is a 50% chance this is gonna happen or a 75% chance that is gonna happen. And that's how variation changes the level, and that's how we create very cool overworlds. And these blocks are then also used for the buildings, which brings us to the tower levels. So the towers are a little bit different from the overworld levels because the tower you enter at the bottom and then you have to move your way up to the top of the tower. The path can go up, it can go left, right, and then up and left and right, and it can go in all directions. It just needs to be a clear path from top to bottom or bottom to top. Works pretty much the same way. So in the tower we start at the bottom. The next block is most likely going to be above it, so we're going to move upwards. So we pick a template that always has an opening at the top, and then you can move upwards. And if it then picks or decides that you can move left or right, it will then pick a random template or block that is designed for a left opening and a right opening and one at the bottom, because we just came from downstairs, so we want to still be able to move up and then left or right. So this is just a little tricky code, but once you have that up and running, it's very easy. Just keep in mind that this template or this type of block needs to have exits on left and right and the bottom. This type of block needs to have exit on all directions, or this type of block just needs to have exits at the bottom and at the top. Designing these blocks is pretty fun to do. It's very limiting, so making it very interesting can be very hard, but that's just also based on how much is there in the game. Is there enough interesting functionality in the game? If there isn't, the level design is going to be pretty crap. So I'll just keep adding more to the game so that I can add more to these block designs, and then the levels completely change and become more interesting, hopefully. Hey. So those are the overworld and the big tower levels, but there are a few other little areas or little levels that are in the game. The pop-up stores, which I showed you in one of the previous videos, these are basically not templated or designed at all. Well, they are designed, but they are all built from code. There is no set template for it. I just use a couple of lines of code to cut out an area of the pop-up store, which is very small, very tiny room, because I really want that feeling that, hey, this is a little room you're entering and there's just one interesting thing there that you want to either talk to or use or buy, or it's very confined little space. I also want to have these buildings always be the same. If you enter a bar, it's just gonna be always the same type of bar, so you exactly know and recognize, oh, I'm in one of those type of buildings, I can do this or I can do that, or I'm just gonna leave because I don't like these type of buildings. A couple of lines of code, and then we have a little character, a little item, and a door. Always needs a door because you need to be able to exit the level. And that's how the little pop-up store levels are made. Pretty much the same as the big boss levels. It's just a larger area that's getting cut out. There's going to be a very solid wall, and then we're going to cut out a big area, place the end boss in there, place a door, some extra items, and in some cases platforms, because some bosses need to be attacked from above. We're going to place a couple of extra platforms in there, or maybe an elevator, or maybe a weapon or an item that you need to use, and it's just going to be hard to get. These are very simple rooms, but they do require a little bit more code than the little pop-up stores, but I find it a lot easier and much faster to create them this way. And that's really how the levels in Gunslugs are created. Various type of levels, various different methods to creating these levels. If you ever read about a game being randomly generated, don't see it as a bad thing or a bad design or an easy way out for the level designer, because it's not. There's a lot more work going into creating randomly generated levels or procedurally generated levels, because there are a lot of rules that you need to have in mind when you create these templates. You have to know exactly what's allowed and what isn't allowed, and how the computer is going to mix them up and combine them. It can get very messy very quickly, and it's a lot of work, but once you have it up and running, There is so much levels and content you can create with just a little bit of work extra that it's usually very worth it. At least for me, it's very much worth it. But that's it for this video, because I need to design some new templates. I need to get working on Gunslugs again, because I'm pretty much behind schedule. I think December is still one of the months I'm targeting with the release, at least on PC probably. But it's already October and there's a lot of content I need to add, so I'm a little bit behind, but it's all gonna be good. I'm pretty sure. I work very well under stress and I'm getting a little bit stressy, so I'm gonna be working very well, obviously. Anyway, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, notification bell. Let me know in the comments what you think about level designs and how these levels are created, and if it was clear. If you have any questions about it, let me know as well, because I love answering them. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.